This is a great day today. We got a lot to talk about with five beautiful Black queens. You see them right here on your screen. And this is about our history, our culture, and we are going to educate y'all today. So thank you for checking in. I am Carla Ferrell. You guys know me, one of the co-hosts of the Steve Harvey Morning Show. And right now, I want to let you guys know what's going on. We are going to do a film roundtable discussion with five, like I said earlier, five Black queens, but five Black filmmakers. Yes, everybody watching? Yep. Put them up, put them up. That's what I said. And this film, it's a documentary, and the name of it is Thibodeauxville. Now, a lot of you all are looking and watching, and you may not have heard about Thibodeauxville or Thibodeau, Louisiana is the actual city, but I'm going to let you guys get exposed and find out what's going on with Thibodeauxville. So I'm going to give you an overview, a small overview of the film, and then I'm going to introduce you to the panel. So in November of 1887, Black sugarcane workers seeking better work conditions and wages were murdered in what is being called the Thibodeau Massacre. Five Black women, led by Christina Hill, have joined forces to bring this untold story to life. So, right now, let's not waste any time, right? What I just said, let that sink in for a little bit. But let's not waste any time. And I'm going to introduce you guys to the producers. Let's start with you, Christina Hill. Happy Friday.
Hi, happy Friday. Thank you so much, Carla, for doing this.
Yes. Tell me about the movie, your vision, and we'll get into all that after we meet the other ladies. Jessica, are you here?
Hi everyone.
Hey, Jessica. Kennedy Vickers, am I saying that correctly?
Yes, you are.
Okay, whoop whoop. All right, pat myself on the back. All right, Chelsea, my girl Chelsea, what's going on, Chelsea?
Hi everybody, how y'all doing?
Good. Also, Davida.
Hi.
Hey. All right. So we'll go around the room and we all checked in, and my girl Kim. Woo! Now this woman right here, that's my heart right there. Hey, Kim Wilson.
Right back at you, boo.
We go way. Yes, we do. All right, so let's go, Christina. Tell us about your vision, the movie. What do you do? All of that, and then we'll go around the room, and then we'll get into this discussion.
All right. So first of all, I am Christina Hill, and I am a native of Thibodeau, Louisiana. And as you indicated, we are in the process. I want to be clear. We're in the process of doing this film called Thibodeauxville. And so we're actively fundraising. So everybody out there, please visit our website, www.thibodeauxvillefilm.com, and be sure to donate. But I felt like it was very important for us to tell this story for a number of reasons. And first of all, if you think about the time, 1887, which you mentioned, it was about 10 years post-Reconstruction. So thinking right before the end of the Civil War in 1864, there was a general order that went into effect that basically dictated what sugarcane workers had to get in terms of their pay, in terms of, they basically had to work, or else they could be arrested and then made to do public works and then not get any payment at all. It said a 10-hour work day, and then things like flogging and separation of families were supposedly ruled out, but also the sugarcane workers had to sign a contract, and that contract basically stated that they would get half of their payment at the end of the year. And so that's before the end of the Civil War. So then we move into this period of Reconstruction. And, very often we talk about Reconstruction, and we know about the many Black political figures like in Louisiana, Oscar Dunn and PBS Pinchback, who came to be prominent political figures. But we also, we sometimes forget that a lot of the Southerners, the Southern growers, felt like, Reconstruction sort of was like the man giving it to them, sticking them and turning the knife, right? And so they looked at it like these vindictive Republicans came down here and they're telling us what we have to do. So at the end of the day, the environment was, I like to say, probably a powder keg just waiting to be lit.
Right.
And so, and there was also the Black codes and all these things that made it more restrictive for Black workers, and in effect saying that, hey, we went from having this free labor force to now we want to maintain a cheap labor force.
Right.
And so that was kind of the groundwork, what you're dealing with at that time. So this massacre happened 10 years post Reconstruction.
Okay.
But again, there was still a lot of negative energy going on and a lot of unhappy people. So one of the things that was being asked, the sugarcane workers simply, if you can believe it, wanted to be paid money. Like not script, but actual money, because script was something that could be used only on the plantation. And they wanted to be able to actually have money, create wealth, and be able to go outside of the plantation system. So on the one hand, you have workers saying, hey, can I get actual money? And then you have the growers saying, I mean, look, you got to apply the land.
Right.
You can grow your little garden. I'm letting you live here rent free.
Right.
But
The audacity of you to ask for money.
For money, right. And at the end of the day, the sharecropping or tenancy farming system just didn't work for some people. So around the summertime of 1887, you had the Knights of Labor, which was a national labor union, come down to the area and started to help organize these sugarcane workers. And basically, the year before, there had been an unsuccessful crop in 1886. So the growers, remember the contracts that had been signed, the growers had set the wages at like 65 cents a day or something like that. And so the request was, hey, we'd like to have $1.25 without rations and then $1 with rations per day.
Can you imagine? Oh my God.
I cannot. But I guess, one would think that was not an unreasonable request, considering that you got so many years out of us for free.
Right.
One would think that wasn't an unreasonable request. But nonetheless, the Knights of Labor helped organize those folks, and they made the request. And the planners basically said no, they weren't going to pay it. So that said, ultimately, martial law was declared by Judge Taylor Beatty, who at the time was both a planter and a judge. And so he declared martial law because there had been, to be fair, there had been violence and there had been some skirmishes that had occurred up until that point. But the fact is, there was also a lot of rumor and there was a lot of innuendo that was going on that helped fuel the situation. So everybody was on edge. Ultimately, there were two young men, like watch deputies or whatever, who were on the edge of town. They were positioned near what was and what remains the black part of Thibodeau, some of the black neighborhoods in Thibodeau. They were shot at, and that's when all hell broke loose. White vigilantes started going house to house and just kind of pulling folks out of their homes and shooting and killing folks. And ultimately on November 23rd, 1887, that is what became known as the Thibodeau Massacre. And so there are 8 official deaths, but the toll has been quoted as anything from 6 to 300. And so I think that part of the desire that I have to do this film is honoring those people in a way that they deserve to be honored for the sacrifices that they made.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Christina. Jessica, thank you for that, Christina. That was, I lived in Louisiana. My husband's from Thibodeau, and I never knew this. So just imagine this story needs to be told, and just imagine kids or adults, people that grew up in Louisiana in this area, never heard about this. These are kind of history moments, historical moments that we have to share. We have to let future generations know what sacrifice and what happened in times where, sometimes we may hear the same Black history stories. And so now here you all are telling, informing us of something else, another historical moment, but it's heartbreaking to hear, but it's educational at the same time. So I'm going to move up. I'm going to go just up on my screen, and I'm going to go to you, Jessica. Just tell me a little bit about yourself, the association with the film, or with Louisiana, Thibodeau, all of that.
Sure. So my association with Louisiana is I'm a Mississippi native. My hometown sits right on the border. We like to call ourselves the gateway to Louisiana. And my hometown is actually 2 hours from Thibodeau. And I never knew this story until I spoke with Christina. So the fact that something so monumental happened 2 hours from the place that I spent my entire life, it was like mind blowing to me. I just couldn't believe that had happened, and it wasn't taught in my school system, and no one around me knew about it. And so I just really wanted to be able to help Christina tell this story, because it's a passion project of hers, but it's a labor issue at its heart. And my family is a working class family, all the way back to my grandparents who were sharecroppers. And this could have happened to them or my ancestors. And I just believe that it's a story that needs to be told.
Thank you for that, Jessica. And what is your title?
So I'm a producer on this film. I'm an engineer by trade. And I just had this desire to flex my creative muscles a little more. And I believe that there are so many stories out there that need to be told. And I'm just super excited to be part of the team helping bring this one to life.
Thank you, Jessica. So if you guys are just joining us, we are having a film roundtable discussion about the movie, the film that is about to be released. We're working on that, right, Christina? The name of the movie is called Thibodeauxville. And Thibodeau, if you don't know, if you've never heard, Thibodeau is a city in Louisiana, southern Louisiana. And we are talking about the fight and the Black sugarcane workers and fighting for justice and equality. And that's what we're talking about right now. So stay around with us. This is going to be a great conversation. You're meeting some of the producers, directors, writers, just Black queens, Black filmmakers. And so now we're going to talk to my girl, Kim Wilson. Kim, we've been knowing each other a long time, my sister. I already know you're smart and you're a genius. But for everybody else who's watching, tell us a little bit about yourself, your connection to the film, and what you're doing on the film as well. And go ahead.
Thank you so much, Carla. First of all, thank you so much for doing this. And I love you to death. We've known each other 16 years now. When I lived in New Orleans, you were home for me. So I appreciate that. I'm Kim Wilson, and I'm a producer on this film. I've known Christina for 15 years as well, almost 16 years. And her passion for not only where she's from, but for storytelling drew me in, to be honest. I love, if you don't know this, Christina's a phenomenal writer. She's hysterically funny and extremely passionate. And we met when we both worked at Disney. We started in the same year and have been friends and ever since. So I love where history intersects with social justice. And this is absolutely a social justice story. And anytime that I can support my friends' dreams while also flexing, to Jessica's point, my creative muscles and really getting into filmmaking. I was 100% on board. And I will say I'm excited about the journey we're about to embark on in terms of making this film, because I think COVID has taught a bunch of people, like, you have multiple talents and it's okay to get out of your comfort zone and do other things. And so to come together with these group of women who, by the way, we're all sorority sisters and we all have ties to Louisiana. I'm learning from them as much as I hope, others will learn from this film when it's done. So I'm just honored to be a part of it.
All right. Thank you, Kim. Let's go on down to Davida. I love that name. Beautiful name, Davida.
Thank you, Miss Cole.
Say it too, right?
I'm working on it. Yes. I am Davida Chanel.
Oh, jump right on in, Davida.
All right. Well, I'm Davida Chanel Smith. I have known Christina for quite some time. I'll talk about our beautiful 1997. We are Lion Sisters. We pledged together. And one thing I learned about Christina early on, in addition to being extremely creative, Christina is an organizer and she is a passionate woman. When it comes to the sorority alone, not her many other hats she wears, but just alone in the sorority. Since we pledged in 97, Christina has been a leader in Louisiana, California, Arizona. This girl puts her mind to things and she works hard for it. And she's also, no matter how busy she gets, she's always got time for other people. And she's always got time. Here I go. She's always got time to make sure that the important work gets done. And so when Christina asked for help, which first of all doesn't happen very often, of course, I was down to lend whatever I could to the situation. This story is so important, in my opinion, because like Jessica, I'm from close to Thibodeau. I'm from Plaquemine, Louisiana, the city, not the parish, outside of Baton Rouge.
Right. You have to say that.
You gotta say that. It's literally a part of my life. Hello. But being from Plaquemine, most of the men in my family, a lot of the men in my community were sugarcane drivers. My stepdad, my sister's father, he drove sugarcane truck for years and years and years. And I never knew this story. I don't know if he knew. We recently talked about it. My grandma was unaware. And these are people who know Louisiana. And it's just a story that hasn't been told. And in general, when working on film projects, I'm a talent manager and a producer. People keep things low. You don't talk about it until it's released. But if 2020 has taught me anything, is we have to share and we have to tell people what we're doing. We have to ring the alarm because we are a community and community wants to support us. 4 things stood out to me when Christina was telling me this story. It's people going to work with bad contracts and bad deals. It's families being separated because the daddy or somebody got to go to work in this family. So that causes a separation. It's the conservative group saying, we don't want big government in our business. We don't want them telling us what to do. And it's people fighting for a living wage. Like, is this 1887 or is this 2021? Like, it just seems so timely. And again, I just feel that Christina is the voice to tell this story. She's fair, she's impartial, and she don't play around. And I just felt of all the things that I could get involved in going into a creative project, this just hit all the things. I think while it is a race-related issue, and as African Americans, we should be paying attention to this. I think anyone who works for a living should be paying attention to this, because the same way it happened to the sugarcane workers back then, who's to say Amazon or some other big corporation won't do it to us now? How do I know? Because I watch the news. Like, we see it all the time. Right. So all that to say, I am very, very grateful to be a part of this project. And there's no one, I think, better positioned to tell a story about their hometown and to show it in a light that's going to affect change for the future generations of Thibodeau. Christina Hill.
Thank you, Davida. That was good. Woo, I'm ready. Let's go, Davida.
She was trying to mess me up for a second there, but
she almost got you.
I'm gonna tell you now. There will be tears on this set.
And finally, let's meet Chelsea Cece Charles. What's going on, Chelsea?
Hi, everybody.
Hey, girl.
Hey. I just want to just say how happy I am to be a part of this project. Like everybody else has been saying, my connection to Louisiana is that I am a native of Lafayette, Louisiana, which is South Louisiana also. But my family is the huge Charles family from Houma, Louisiana. And I am a little unique in this group because I know that we are all sorority sisters, but Christina is actually my big cousin. And when she asked me to be a part of this project, by trade, I am a producer of unscripted television, but my first home is filmmaking. So I was so excited to kind of just be of assistance for Chrissy to be able to tell her story of her hometown. So just like everybody said, I'm excited to be here. And this is a story that is so necessary, especially as we move forward in this, this new level of global consciousness. I love that Black people are starting to learn a little bit more of our history that was kept from us. And as we're starting to do a little bit more research and learn parts of history that is one-sided and we only know one part of that story, I'm so happy to just be a vessel and telling the Thibodeau massacre. So yeah.
Thank you, Chelsea. You know what? I think, Christina, what I wanted to hit home, and like I said, if everybody, you're just joining us here on Facebook or on YouTube, we are having a film roundtable discussion with 5 Black filmmakers. The movie is called, it's a documentary, and it's called Thibodeauxville. And there's 2 things that I want to get out the gate. We are asking for support as the production continues on this documentary. And Christina, you want to tell our viewers how, if they want to support, how they can make a donation. I mean, everyone that's watching right now, if you're in the state of Louisiana, right out the gate, you should want in your heart to support. But everywhere else, this is a story about our culture, our pride, our people. And Christina, tell everyone how they can make a donation and support if the budget allows them to.
Yes, so you can go to our website. It is www.Thibodeauxville, that's THIBODEAUXVILLE, film, FILM.com. And there's a tab that says support the film. And you can either buy one of our fabulous t-shirts and rep for Thibodeauxville, or you can go to our GoFundMe site and make a donation there. And, you know, and if you can't financially make a donation, you know, if you have stories to tell, to add to this very important story that needs to be told, please share them with us. At the end of the day, I don't know all the families that were impacted because, like I said, we have official records, and then there's so much that's still unknown.
Right.
I forgot to mention that I'm an engineer by trade. And so a part of being an engineer, you know, I am data driven and a little bit analytical. I'm not all the way there, but I try every now and again. And so for me, telling this story is not about placing blame, but it's about, again, getting to the bottom of what actually happened and being able to say that, okay, if there are unknown burial sites, where are these people buried? You know, we have to honor our ancestors in that way. And I know, listen, again, I grew up in Thibodeau, Louisiana. I know what it is, and I love it, but it is a challenge. You know, many of my friends and I have indicated having a love-hate relationship with our hometown because there's so many things that we love about it, but there's a part of this history that it feels like people want to deny or romanticize or completely ignore. And I feel like the healing the healing, true healing takes place when you actually talk through things and you tell the stories and you reveal those secrets. Secrets kill. And at the end of the day, holding on to the pain that's associated, even 130 plus years later, holding on to the pain that's associated with this massacre, it does nobody any good. So let's actually try to heal. So those stories, I would absolutely love those stories. And if you're creative, at the end of the day, I don't have all the answers. These ladies you all can see are fantastic. We come from a varied background, and we have a lot of skill set, and we're doing amazing things together. But there's still opportunities. So if you have some level of creativity that you can provide, all of it is welcome. But the bottom line, I say it often, this is a labor of love. So far, every penny that has been put toward it, it has been money that we have personally invested in this, because whether or not we make a dime off of it, and listen, God knows my heart. He knows we want to do well, but whether or not we make a dime off of it, that's not what's important. But it's important that, again, we honor our ancestors in an appropriate way and tell stories so that we can contribute to the healing. Because as Davida said, it's a lot of issues that this story touches on that are very much similar to what we're dealing with right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That is a good point. So again, just like Christina said, you can make a donation if you financially can't afford it. You can possibly help out if you're from the area and you have information, family information. You can be a part. If being involved in filmmaking has always been your dream and your passion, and this is something that you think you can contribute and be a part of, please don't hesitate. And one more time, Christina, give them the website, please. Christina, you're on mute, dear.
It's www.thibodeauxvillefilm.com. And just so everyone knows who's not aware, Thibodaux, Louisiana currently does not have an E in its name. But there was a time when the city was actually known as Thibodeauxville, first with an E, then without the E. Then they were like, let's just drop the Ville and make it Thibodeaux. So that's that's where the name Thibodeauxville comes from, for all those who may have been wondering, like, why is this? The Thibodeaux massacre is spelled with Thibodaux, but Thibodeauxville is spelled with an E, and that's why.
Well, like I said, I have family that is from Houma, Louisiana. Cece mentioned Houma, so I think that I'm finding out that we're all cousins right now. But that's another call. That's another family reunion. That could be another movie. But anyway, let's stay focused. I want you, Christina or Davida, Chelsea, Jessica, Kim, anybody, talk about the sugarcane industry and the amount of revenue and the amount of money that is made in the sugarcane industry back then, and what is it valued at today? Please, anybody who wants to take this question.
Well, I can say I don't know the exact numbers, but we know that with the strike, it did at least partially cripple the plantation system for a few weeks, about 3 weeks. At least in my experience of growing up in Thibodeaux, almost every place that is currently a neighborhood that was, I would say, built in the last 10 years was previously a sugarcane field. And so, and very often, even when we watch movies on television, when we think about enslaved Black people, we see them picking cotton. We rarely see references to sugarcane, but sugarcane was a very brutal industry as well. And so I don't want that to be lost on people either, because again, the request for an increase in wages, well, again, it's very similar to me, like this question about should we give people a minimum wage of $15? And I've heard people say $15 for flipping burgers. Well, you know, if that's the way you frame it, there are a lot of people who are trying to live off of that less than $15,
Right.
but it can be dangerous work. And so in the same way, the sugarcane industry can be very dangerous work. But I will definitely, I'm going to throw it to someone else if you all want to chime in. But I'm going to find some numbers because I think it's important to tell you.
No, go ahead. Anyone want to jump in?
I just want to chime in on what Christina said. It's also not lost on me when people make that comparison and say like, oh, $15 for flipping burgers. But how much did McDonald's make off of that person's labor? How much? Right. Like when we do get into these numbers, I know this random number, so please don't quote me. But I read and was astounded that, you know, at this time, Louisiana was making millions of dollars in the 1800s.
That's what I want to hear.
Millions of dollars.
Yes.
And these people were asking for $1.25. Like, what's the logic there? How can you say you're someone who's about humanity and all about inclusivity when the corporation is going to make $1 million? That means the state is getting a kickback. That means all the top tier people are, you know, living off this money. But the people who are out there literally pulling the cane, risking their lives, because cane is not a simple job. Like people die like pulling cane, but they're not worth $1. So I just think, we're at a point where we have to look at not like, oh, judgment, this person didn't get a good education, so they are not worth more of a minimum wage, but look at the corporation and how much they're going to earn a year.
Yeah, right. So just really quickly, I see that it says the economic impact is about $2 billion per year.
Now we're in billions. So
now that's today. So, but if I'm sure,
but that's what I'm saying.
Those dollars.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes, let's think about the cotton industry, tobacco industry.
Right.
You know, we could go on and on about how our ancestors, you know, what they did, what they sacrificed to build this country into what it is today, and the amount of money, you know, that it's just unthinkable. And what is really something is the fact that we are talking about what happened in the late 1800s, but how it's evergreen and how it's timeless to today. That we are hearing some of the same type of stories in 2021. Like you just said, Davida and Christina, fighting for minimum wage. We're still talking about equality for pay. Just as the film Thibodeauxville was talking about Black sugarcane workers fighting for equality and fighting for pay. I think we had a couple of comments in the chat from some of our viewers. This one is from Ali that says it's embarrassing how they treat sugarcane workers, low wages, working 7 days a week, no health care. Good point. Again, that is an evergreen statement today. People working today, low wages, no health care. You know, how are we still saying some of these things? This one comment is from Wanda Michelle. She said, "Thank you for producing this. My father drove sugarcane trucks in the Thibodeau area, and we only heard about this a few years ago through social media. It was never taught in schools." And that was my point when we started, that this is just history information that, you know, people don't know, and they weren't taught, they weren't educated about it. So thank you to Christina, Jessica, Kim, Davida, and Chelsea for telling this story and making this documentary. I wanted to just kind of get a little personal. You know, Christina, Davida teared up when she talked about you and your sorority sisters, and your cousin and your friends, that they all love you. what kind of advice can you give to people who are watching right now, who are hesitating on following their dreams and maybe want to be a filmmaker, but they're scared to take a chance because these women love you and they support you and they are your ride or die. And Davita gonna get me crying. Davita,
Right? She don't stop. She gotta
It's
stop.
like, I don't know, y'all. It's like the last 5 years. It's like the commercials. I'm like, oh my God, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
but Tina, I wanted you to give some advice because we have been lately in the last year talking about Black Lives Matter, social justices, supporting each other. You know, it's one thing that we can all be on social media and say queen and go girl and go sister, but don't follow it up with action.
Right.
You know, it's just a hashtag. So these women are supporting you and you're supporting them. It's a two-way street. So if you could, you know, just jump in and just, you know, this is not a format. We're just talking, but give some advice to everybody out there, you know, that want to follow in your footsteps, perhaps.
So what I will say is that everything happens for a reason, and I believe God places us exactly where we need to be, and He puts the right people in our path at the right divine right time. This story has been one on my heart since I heard about it. Wanda, who you just read, who said her father drove sugarcane trucks, she and I are classmates. We graduated high school together. And like Wanda, this was not a story that I heard in school. But when I heard the story, it stayed with me. And over all the years, so I started off as a civil engineer. I lived in Mississippi. Then I went back home to Louisiana to get my MBA. Then I ended up moving to LA. That's where I met Kim. At the time, right before I moved, Davita and my other line sister, Misty, they were both in LA and it looked like they were having so much fun. I was like, yeah, I gotta go to LA. But then I was like, but I can't go without a job, child. So I got out to LA and got to spend some time with them and started working at Disney. And I think somewhere along the line, I got bit by the bug. And I say that if you live in LA long enough, you're going to get bit by some bug. You're going to, you know, you got to act, you got to dance, you got to do something, you know.
Entertainment, right?
Yes. And so, but even with all of that, and I started writing and I had writing partners and things like that, but I didn't have enough confidence in my own abilities. I didn't believe that I could do it. I was always looking at the other folks saying, but they have more experience than me. And so I went along and told the stories that they wanted to tell and worked with them and helped them. But this story just stayed in my heart. It still stayed close to my heart. So finally, around 2016 or so, I had Chelsea and my line sister Misty and Davita at my house. And I was like, yep, we got to do something. Like, we got to do something. And we all sat there and brainstormed and pulled together a few ideas. And this one was on the list. And I still have the piece of paper. And so, you know, as the good book says, you know, you write the vision and make it plain. I always had to write the vision, and I had to write it down, and I had to keep writing it down. And then in 2017, God decided you need to move away from Los Angeles. And I ended up in Arizona, and God only knows. Right. Because that was never in the plans.
Okay.
But I know for sure that God positioned me here because it allowed me to then be in a financial situation where I could save more money and then I could invest in my dream. And so I still work a full-time job. And like I said, it's about investing in my dream. And so I would tell anybody who's listening, first and foremost, be okay knowing that you have everything you already need to do anything that you want to do. It's already, you have it. And the minute, and I kid you not, the minute you decide, I'm going to do this thing, if it's telling your story, if it's writing your book, if it's learning to, to paint or dance or what have you, the moment you decide that you're ready to take that leap, God has an amazing way of aligning all the people in your life such that those things will come to fruition. And so we're not there yet. We don't have it all 100% figured out, but it's amazing how God works. A gentleman that was in the comments, Mr. Leonard Smith, again, Kim introduced me to Gary. Gary sent me to Leonard. I talked to Leonard on the phone, talking to Leonard. He's like asking me something about Thibodeau. And then I said, my friend Donald used to live across the street from there. He's like, I know Donald Williams. So he knows one of my friends from high school. And so at the end of the day, the Lord will make it. He will make the way for you. And so that's what I trust and believe in. And these women are evidence of it, because we couldn't do any of this without this group of women.
That part, right? That part, right. Kim, I wanted to ask you, we kind of, we know each other. We've been knowing each other for a long time, but how do you handle that phone call from your sorority sister or your friend in the conversation? Girl, we're going to make a movie. Wait, what? How do you still be there for that friend? Let's just say you're a little hesitant, or you may have not seen the vision the way that she sees this vision. How do you still be there? Advice from women and sisters that are watching: be there for your friend. You want to support your friend, but you just don't know how maybe your dreams can tie into what your friend or your sorority sister's dreams are. Am I making sense? You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Oh, I'm going to say this. I called Christina. I said, you still working on that movie? And it's exactly what you said, Carla. My dream is to transition into filmmaking. And I thought, you know what? Christina has been manifesting this dream for a long time. So how can I both support her and learn at the same time? And so I've learned as much through this process. I'm stretching muscles I ain't stretched since I started in this business 21 years ago, and have humbled myself to accept the things I don't know. And because Christina and I have been riding for so long, it was easy for me to support her dreams. And I think that's the message. There's a saying, like, everybody can't go with you, but some people can. And so the fact that Christina, sometimes you just need to assemble the people who can play their position. So I don't have to be versed in writing the script, because that's not my ministry. However, and I'm using all of Christina's phrases, what I can do is build a marketing plan and put together, call some friends like my sister from another, Mr. Carla, Miss Carla, and ask you could you do this for us? So playing our position and really knowing what we're good at, but learning these kind of other skill sets along the way has been pouring into me. And, I saw my sister pop up in the mentions, and she knows I'm always telling her, what it is that I want to do, what my dreams are. But surround yourself with people who see and support your vision, but not everybody has to do it. And that's okay, because those people who do, they show up. And they're consistent. You ain't got to beg them. You ain't got to keep asking. You in. They are just there. And so it's been an honor. It's been a privilege. The humility about, working in a space that you're not very familiar with, but you have the capability, maybe not the experience, has been truly amazing. And then getting to know Jessica and Davida and Chelsea along the way too has been a blessing, because yes, we're sorority sisters, but I didn't really know them. They didn't know me. But we're all in the industry, which is crazy too. So it's been a ride of a lifetime, and I can't wait until we finish this film, because I think a lot of people are going to be touched not only by the subject, but the aesthetics, the visual story we will tell. And you will see everyone's passion on here show up in it. So I don't know if you saw the concept trailer. Y'all go see that concept trailer, because Chelsea did that. And it really kind of tells what we want to tell as part of this story. So it's been amazing. And I called Christina right before Christmas. I was like, can I make a movie with you? And
can I hang? Can I roll? Can I be down?
I'm just gonna ride your coattails straight. And she welcomed me in, no questions asked. So
that's awesome. That's fantastic. That's great advice, Kim. Chelsea, I wanted to talk about the trailer, because for those that are, joining us right now and watching, and they haven't seen the trailer for Thibodeauxville, I saw it, and my husband, we watched it together, and we just, looked at each other. We were like, wow. I mean, just amazed by what the movie is about, but wanted more. Wanted to hear more. Tell us about the trailer, so the research, and some of the people who are in the movie. Obviously, there are older people that, they're telling the history from families in the past. So tell us about it, Chelsea. And then when you finish, where can people see the trailer?
So to start off, I just want to say how happy I am to be a part of a team, because most of the research that was needed to put the trailer together was kind of already done for me. All I really needed to do was just go online and pull and dig deep into like the news coverage that was already done. The author of the original book, The Thibodeau Massacre, actually started some research with trying to find the grave sites of where these people were actually buried. And so in case you didn't know, that's actually like public information that's on a lot of news outlets. So I was able to pull from a lot of those interviews that already happened to kind of put something together to be able to show. So it really wasn't that hard, but I'm so happy that people were able to take a look at it and want to know more and want to see the film. Because at the end of the day, that's what we want, to be able to tell this story and people be a little bit more interested in what's going on. And yeah, so you can head over to our website. The concept trailer is actually there for everybody to view, and let us know what you think.
Thank you, Chelsea. Jessica, being that, you're from the SIP, girl. You're from the SIP, and how, what happened in Thibodaux, Louisiana, we could go state by state in the South and unfortunately, hear about our ancestors and, what they went through. And tell me, Jessica, for you, I know that you have a relationship with Christina, but is there something else personally that you want to keep doing in the future, telling stories and movies? And if so, how are you balancing all of that? Do you still have your regular job? How are you juggling all of this while pursuing, the dream, if it's your dream?
Yes, so it's definitely my dream. And balance, who knows? What is that word? But honestly, yes, I do still have my day job. I'm the manager of digital delivery at Royal Caribbean, and I'm working on this at night. I just had to be a part of this. Christina told me about this project, I want to say last year or the year before last. And I think she was just sharing her dreams with me. And I was like waiting on the phone, like, so girl, you gonna ask me to be a part of this, or do I have to stalk you? Like, what do you need? And I honestly asked her if I could just be her assistant, helping her bring this to life. And she was like, girl, no, I want you to be one of the filmmakers. And I'm like, see, this is why I love you. Because see, this is what people don't know. I found Christina on LinkedIn. I saw that she was an engineer like I was, and that she was moving into a more creative space. I sent her a random message on LinkedIn and was like, hey, sis, you went to Southern, I went to Jackson State. You are an engineer. I am as well. We're friends now. You're my mentor. Hey, girl. And that's really how it happened.
But that's your assignment, right?
And she's been stuck with me ever since. So when I knew that she was, bringing this project to life, I was there. She could have asked me to do anything and I would have signed on, because she has always been there when I've made career moves, when I've talked with her about, Christina, I'm just not being fulfilled. I want to do this. She has pumped me up, second to my husband. She is always there. And I wanted to be that person for her with this project. I would have been totally upset if she hadn't asked me to be a part of this. And so what I want to do after this, after we are finished telling her story, she knows I'm bringing all y'all back to help tell my stories. So yes, she just assembled the team in advance for me.
Right. And there you have it. And look at Davita, yes. She cried again.
I'm almost there. I'm sorry too, Davita. You started it.
This is so good. This is sisterhood and educating and talking about Thibodeauxville, the movie. Again, this is a documentary movie. We are having a film roundtable discussion. We are talking about, if you don't know the story, why don't you tell it, Christina? Give a quick overview for those that are tuning in.
Sure thing. So on November 23rd, 1887, after a sugarcane strike where workers were seeking better wages and better conditions, white vigilantes came into the Black part of town and pulled folks out of their homes and shot and killed them. And that is what became known as the Thibodeau Massacre.
And you are a visionary storyteller, and we are asking your viewers, this is a work in progress. This is a documentary. This is a movie that we want you to see. There were some comments. There was someone who commented, I lost it briefly, but this person said they attended Fisk University and that they were from, oh, here we go. It's so random how I found out about the massacre. Someone at my college, Fisk University, approached me about it. I was born and raised in the Thibodeau area, and I have never heard about it. So
that is actually my friend Donald, and his story and his family story is gonna be a part of this story, because albeit, like he said, he didn't know about the massacre until he was a student at Fisk. His family has owned a lot of land over the years in which sugarcane growers have been growing on their land and renting from them. Well, come to find out, he learned some interesting things about how they were going about paying his family and how they were basically being cheated. So his story is definitely gonna be a part of this, because again, it just adds to the different layers of the fact that you had these workers who were asking for better wages and better conditions, and they were denied and they were killed and paid the ultimate sacrifice. And then years later, you have families that had land, and we know that whole story about eminent domain, land being taken, even the whole system of heir property, how easy it is to take land in states like Louisiana and Mississippi, because you get so many heirs tied up in it, and you can swoop in and take people's land. And so all of these stories are so intertwined. And that's the thing about this, it's such a multi-layered story. And I know I started in the beginning, I told a lot of background, but even the background that I gave is that's just the tip of the iceberg. But I think it's important for people to put themselves back in that place and understand that, again, you had planners who felt like, I mean, what do you want? We're giving you a place to stay. We're giving you a plot of land to grow your vegetables. You don't have to, you can go to the store and get everything that you need, not taking into consideration that script, again, that many were paid in. Not only was it only used on that plantation, but they very well could have raised the prices of everything. And so many of those families still they owed the planters. They owed the people who owned the plantation every time they went to the store to try to get things, the bare necessities. So it was a very, it was a cyclical thing, and it was a vicious cycle. And again, I think the best we can do to break those vicious cycles is to tell the truth, tell the story, don't ignore it, don't romanticize it, and just be better as a result of it.
Absolutely, Christina. Davida, anything that you want to add? You were so passionate. I love passion. I'm a passionate person too, and you are so passionate about where you're from, Louisiana, the film, your friends, your sorority sisters. Anything you want to add?
Yes, I do have something to add. I am blessed, fortunate, and very grateful to work in the entertainment industry since 2005. It's a dream realized for me and something that I have worked really hard for. And I go to a lot of panels. I read all the magazines. I'm always researching to be better at what I do. And all the women that I admire, the Issa Raes, the Ava DuVernays, the Oprah Winfreys, when they talk about what it is they do. And Issa Rae has this great quote about how everybody's always trying to level up and everybody's always trying to network up. And, oh, I want to be a filmmaker, so I've got to work with this person and that person. And trust, I've been that way too, trying to get somebody to see me. Like, oh my God, if they could just realize how talented I am. But what I have learned and what I know to be true, it doesn't work like that. Those type of relationships, you're going to always be trying to prove how good you are. Whereas when you can invest in the people that are right here with you, that's where growth happens. And I just want to implore people, again, I got so worked up, I'm about to cry. Jessica sliding in Christina's DMs, trying to be her friend, like it's a mentor. I'm sorry. This is it. If you're somebody sitting out there like, oh, I want to be involved in film, but I'm from Louisiana and I don't know how to get started, come volunteer with us. Come help us out. You want to be a producer. You want the Oprahs and the Avas to know who you are. Throw some money on Thibodeauxville. Because when we become those people, when this movie becomes this great piece that I know it will be, that's where you'll shine. And that's where people will see how you were able to contribute to something. That's where people will see where you were able to help something build. So again, not trying to, take anybody off their path, but just to show you another direction or to open another door. If you want to be involved in the industry and you just don't know how, we got an opportunity for you. So we can take financial donations. We really need those, but we also need some labor, and any way you want to help us, that can help you.
I love it. Thank you, Davida. Let's get the information out so people can act upon what you just said. The website, let's go, Christina. Give it out again.
It's www.thibodeauxvillefilm.com. And don't forget the E in Thibodeauxville.
Girl, you're going to have to spell Thibodeaux, because folks that ain't from Louisiana, they don't be typing D-O. They don't know about the E-A-U-X. They don't know.
You're right. So it's www.thibodeauxvillefilm.com.
Yeah. How did you get all that? Did you get all that?
We got it scrolling on the bottom for the ones that
right. Check out the scroll down at the bottom. So you all mentioned sorority sisters, and what sorority, please? Of course, with the pearls, of course. Okay. Shout out to that pink and green. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so if somebody want to send this to Madam Vice President, come help your sorors out.
We down here making movies. What's up, Madam Vice President?
Yes, indeed.
But members of the Divine Nine, you all are watching, I'm not in a sorority, but I know how, I attended an HBCU and I know how the support is always there amongst the Greeks. So if you're watching and like I said, if you cannot donate financially, there's a T-shirt from the film. I'm getting my T-shirt. I'm gonna be rocking my Thibodeauxville T-shirt soon. My husband, like I said, he's from Thibodeau. We're gonna be all rocking the T-shirts. A lot of pink and green hearts coming through right now on the chat. A lot of pink and green hearts coming through. But yes, so if you can support, we gave you the website information. If you can't financially do it, budget, we understand. Coins are tight, we understand where the money resides. We get it. So, whatever you can do, labor, creativity, this is just truly, truly amazing. And so before we close out, ladies, do you think we touched on everything? We got all the information out that we needed to get out, and we needed to inform our viewers on YouTube and Facebook what's going on. This one is from Janora. She commented, "Proud Delta here in support of my Divine Nine sisters." See, put it out there and they will come, and they will come. So anything in closing, ladies, that we can just go around, and we'll just start with Chelsea, and then we will end with Christina.
Yes. So like Miss Carla so lovely put it, please just take a look at our website and get to know the film, and just help us out in any way that you can. We would love to have volunteers reach out to us so they can be a part of this beautiful project. And like we said, it's a labor of love. So just come out and be a part of that.
Thank you, Chelsea. Let's go to you, Kim.
I will say this. This film is also shedding a spotlight on the disruption of generational wealth. Sugarcane industry was global. When you think about the Caribbean, you think about all these other places where sugarcane grew, and the labor that it took to actually get that industry going. There are generations of wealth built on the backs of these workers and former slaves. And so, we want to be able to shed a light on that. Follow us on social media, Thibodeauxville. You just put that in there. We got them all sewn up. And look, everyone has a story to tell. So I encourage people, tell your stories, tell what you know. Join people who are as passionate. It doesn't have to be your dream, but support your friends, support your people. And I'm just honored to be part of this group.
Thank you, Kim. Jessica.
First, to piggyback on what everyone else said, we need your support. Buy a T-shirt, give us funds. If you have stories, there's a contact us page on our website. Tell us your stories. We need as much research and that one-on-one knowledge that we can get. So tell us what you know. Also, I have to shout out my line sisters, my big sister who's a Delta. They're all in the comments. I appreciate you all. If you went to Jackson State or anywhere in the SWAC, if you are from Mississippi, if you are Greek, please support us. Help us tell these stories. This needs to be told. If we aren't the ones to tell it, it may never get out. And we want you all to hear this so that you can learn from it, and so that we don't have to keep repeating the mistakes that we continue to repeat every year, it seems, but clearly every 200 years, we have to learn the same things over again. So we just need your help. We need your support. And if your support is not financial, your support can be sharing our posts on social media. We will take that too. But thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Well said. Davida.
Well, thank you, Miss Carla. This has been such a great conversation. To my co-producers, I have just enjoyed every minute of our process and the work we're putting in. We have a long road ahead of us, but look at how far we've come. Like Christina said, this was on a piece of paper on a Founders Day from years ago, and now we've done this much work. So we can't stop now. We put it on Facebook so everybody know. I just want to encourage people to, like everybody else said, look at the website, follow us on social. Again, you want to be a trendsetter, you want to be an influencer, show the world what Thibodeauxville is and help support someone who has a pure heart, strong intentions. And this story is not going to just affect us and help us live our dream. There's some little girl in Thibodeau right now that has no idea why she's in this bad part of town and why things for her family haven't been going well. This might be the spark that changes her life and sets her off in a new direction. So we're here for the future. Like Whitney said, we're doing it for the babies, we're doing it for the children. And I'm just grateful to be a part of it. Thank you, Carla and Christina and lovely producer team.
Thank you, Davida. Christina, we're going to close out this roundtable discussion with you, my dear.
All right. Well, first, I'm going to say to Mr. Jermaine Wagner, you're right. The Rhodes family does play a part in this story. So please have them reach out to us because I've been stalking one person, but I know he might be tired of me stalking him. So please have someone reach out to us. First and foremost, Carla, thank you. It is not lost on me and these ladies here that you are a talent and you might be where the money resides. And so the fact that you are doing this with us and for us and coming along on this journey with us, it is a blessing. And again, I believe it just goes to show that God will put the right people in our path. So thank you so much for that. Again, everybody has already said it. If you can support this film in any way, through your time, talent, or treasures, that's my thing, time, talent, or treasures, please let us know, www.thibodeauxvillefilm.com. And finally, I have to reiterate, now I know how fabulous Kim, Jessica, Chelsea, and Davida are. Now everybody else gets to know how fabulous they are. Now don't be trying to come and take my team away because we got things to do. But these women are amazing and they are part of this team because they have the passion, they have the knowledge, they have the skill set, and they love me in a way that I probably don't even deserve. So I am so grateful to all of them and so grateful to you, Carla. So thank you so much. And everybody from Thibodeau out there, everybody, like Jessica said, Southern University, Jackson State, SWAC, Divine Nine, Alpha Kappa Alpha, specifically everywhere around. If you can be a part of this film, please join us for it.
Wonderful. Thank you, Christina, Chelsea, Kim, Jessica, Davida. The film is called Thibodeauxville. You can go to Thibodeauxvillefilm.com. That is the website. Make sure you follow Thibodeauxville on social media, on the gram, right now here on Facebook. And we're going to do this again. I'm claiming it. We'll have another film roundtable discussion, and we're going to keep you guys posted, keep you informed. I'm Carla Ferrell from the Steve Harvey Morning Show. I appreciate you all waking up, listening to us every single morning. We are on in New Orleans, in Louisiana, baby. Huh, bro? So I love Louisiana. Louisiana's full of good people and some good food, honey. Some good Louisiana. So thank you all very much, and we'll see you next time. Make sure you check out Thibodeauxvillefilm.com. Blowing kisses, doing all that. Peace.